or oh, okay. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. We cannot see ourselves.
Yeah. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jaden, also known as It's Only Someone, and I'm here with my co-host.
Arnav, also known as Dragonary.
All right, and tonight we have UNC versus Sienna Heights University, and we are already in the draft phase. UNC going with the Seraphine, banning Yasuo, Ash, and Jax. Might be picking Alistar here. Sienna Heights picking Volibear and Rel, and banning Skarner, Hui, and Belveth. Learning a little bit that UNC really likes that Skarner.
Yeah. Volibear, of course, a really, really strong pick right now.
Hmm.
I personally find him really unpleasant to play against.
I love
Definitely
him.
a logical first pick here. It looks like we are going to be seeing an Alistar support here as the time runs out. In answer to that
Yep.
Rel. Always a strong, pretty much evergreen engage support pick.
Hmm. I love Volibear. I love playing him. I love seeing him in action. He's just my boy. He's so
Uh,
good at everything.
We're going to agree to disagree on that one, I think. I am not much of a fan of Volibear. But anyway, it's looking like we are getting UNC's third pick here. I do have to wonder if this is a Seraphine mid or APC.
Um, if I had to guess, it'll probably be mid. Hers at APC is pretty questionable, especially because Sienna doesn't. We don't know Sienna's ADC yet.
Of course, of course. Yeah.
Um,
I know that.
UNC going with the Sejuani for the
Yeah,
jungle.
really great, really strong tank jungler pick, really low econ, but providing a lot of value in those team fights, right? Able to
Mhm.
really lock people down, deny some really important abilities. Just a really, really solid jungler all around.
Now,
And then,
oh, go ahead.
no, go for it.
I was gonna say, now, do you think it's a Volibear jungle or a Volibear top?
Oh, most likely it's going to be a Volibear jungle, I think. Just in general, his ability to get around the map, right?
Mhm.
Get into people's faces with Qs and really like set up strong tower dives with that ult.
Mm-hmm.
I think that putting him in the top lane would just lose so much map value,
Oh yeah.
right? And it looks like we do get a Yone here from the side of SHU. Obviously, a very, very strong pick in general. Very strong on the current patch as well.
Yep, we were talking before this about how much you despise Yone.
Oh, absolutely. Yone is quite possibly my least favorite champion in the entire game.
UNC seems to think that that is a Volibear top lane going with a Jarvan ban.
Yep.
And Sienna Heights starting off with a Camille ban. Now it looks like they're going to be banning Ari, which interesting.
UNC with the Varus ban.
Yeah, I mean Varus is just always good, no matter
Yeah.
what patch. He's just always super consistent.
Yeah, definitely one of the more evergreen ADCs, and of course his on-hit build, fantastic at shredding those tanks,
Mhm.
right? I am surprised about the J4 ban here, frankly. But I can understand wanting to really keep people off of the Seraphine, right? Even though this Alistar, of course, has fantastic peel, the Sejuani has so much peel as well.
Yep.
But it looks like we're getting a Kaisa here from SHU, another really evergreen pick. I mean, it's a bunch of staples here. Smolder is being hovered by the side of UNC here.
Oh, there's the camera.
Yeah, there's our camera. And I do wonder whether UNC is looking for a bit of a late game comp here. Seraphine obviously very, very strong in those late game skirmishes with so much AoE damage, and the Smolder obviously an endless scaler. Not a fun pick, but it looks like we're getting the Renekton instead. A Renekton top as an answer to what I'm assuming UNC thinks is a Volibear top. And it's looking like a Smolder final pick for UNC here, of course. They have yet to pick either a mid or an ADC, depending on where the Seraphine is going, and it looks like the Smolder has been locked in.
Yep.
Now we're just waiting on what I would assume is the SHU top laner.
I'm willing to say that the Volibear is going to be their top.
Frankly,
Volibear tends to see a bit more success in top lane, especially in higher elo play. We're
Yeah.
at it. We're not in the days of set jungle anymore. We're having those big tanky bruisers in the jungle was a big thing. I miss set jungle. That was so fun.
I mean, my personal thing is that, yeah, it's looking like we might be seeing an Olaf top here. It just doesn't feel, it feels a little bit nonsensical to leave your jungler that last pick, right? Especially when you're playing on the red side and you get to have that final counter pick.
I still think it's gonna be Olaf jungle personally.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Olaf top. I rarely see it succeed. Especially in high elo play.
I do see Olaf being a pretty decent counter to the Renekton.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be really good into this comp with her Seraphine
Yeah,
root,
just all of
Seraphine
that CC and
charm,
vulnerability.
Alistar knock up, Sejuani root.
Yeah,
Just
there's
all
so
gonna be
much
good.
high value CC on UNC's side that this Olaf will be able to mitigate, and if he
Mhm.
manages to eat some really big abilities, that really clears the way for this Yone and Kaisa to just get work done.
Mhm.
Of course, the Rel here also a really great setup agent alongside this Yone, but it feels like they don't have a whole lot that can really capitalize on that with some
Yeah.
big AoE damage, right?
Yeah.
The Kaisa, of course, is a single target assassin.
Mhm.
The Volibear ult could be a pretty decent answer here.
But Volibear ult doesn't really do much damage
Yeah,
unless you're going full AP or Lethality Bear,
exactly.
which is always really fun to play.
Yeah,
Just turn into a walking nuclear bomb.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a return to the pretty standard Navori build here,
Oh,
just
of
because it
course.
is so insanely strong.
Yeah, you start with Rod of Ages, go into Navori, just be spamming your Q
Yeah,
constantly.
and of course the W healing gets
Mhm.
absolutely absurd. But it looks like we are going to be heading into the game soon. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
We are just now awkwardly waiting.
Yep.
um.
I do have to wonder. I still am kind of 50-50 on this being a Smolder mid versus a Seraphine mid, right?
It's I don't think I've ever seen a Smolder in the mid lane.
Oh, Smolder is very popular in the
Is
mid lane.
he?
Yes.
I've seen him. I've heard that he's much more popular in top lane compared to mid.
Top lane, he definitely has the inherent advantage of being a ranged top laner, right?
Mhm.
Into a bunch of melee matchups. He can really farm those stacks. But the issue with the longer top lane is that his access to farm is slightly worse, right? Because
Mhm.
if the enemy top laner manages to get a freeze off,
Mhm.
he can really be zoned off hard because of how squishy he is into
Mhm.
these bigger bruisers, especially into champions like a Volibear or an Olaf, right?
Mhm.
And you see a lot of Smolders mid just because the ability to roam and get stacks off of other lanes as well is very helpful, right?
Yeah, but he also is a very slow roam.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I feel like that a Seraphine mid is just going to be able to accomplish a lot more
Yeah,
than a Smolder mid.
to be fair, that is definitely true. I don't know how I feel about the Smolder into Rel Kaisa, though, just because it is such a powerful kill lane, right? Kaisa has so much kill pressure early
Mhm.
with her passive. Rel, of course, has a ridiculous amount of lockdown, right? 2 forms of hard CC and her ult.
Mhm. But Smolder also has a really good escape
Of
and
course,
self
of course.
sustain.
Yeah. The Alistar also is going to be of really high value here,
Mhm.
as long as he doesn't end up wasting any of that CC on the Olaf, right?
Mhm.
Now, will that happen? I guess that's kind of up to the
At least
support,
once,
right?
probably.
Yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of Sejuani ults get cleansed off by this Olaf ultimate.
Mhm.
But ultimately, it's really just going to be a question of who manages to, play their abilities best. There's a lot of really strong tools on both sides here, and I'm just kind of interested to see how it goes.
Mhm.
Do we want to maybe head into like a break
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back, everybody. We just gotta wait for them to start. Back, everybody. We have UNC starting on the blue side. Nice, nice, nice.
Yep. Looks like the Volibear and the Sejuani both opting for the blue pet here. Definitely a really, really strong option, just in general,
All
right?
right, so I was half right. It's Volibear jungle, Smolder mid.
You mean you were double wrong?
No, because I said it was going to be Volibear jungle.
Did you?
Yes, you said it was going to be Volibear top.
I very much did not say that.
I swear you did.
I need an unbiased observer.
Wait, no, you're right.
here.
I did do. You're right.
I'm
I was
being
double wrong.
gaslit by my fellow commentator here.
You probably deserve it. I don't know, but you
Wow.
probably do.
That's pretty cold. That's pretty cold. Looks like we're not seeing any level 1 invades here. Definitely an interesting choice, right, into this, this, I would say, relatively weak early game team. I feel like SHU would want to look at a bit of an invade, but of course the Renekton, very, very strong. Of course, this Yone Smolder matchup. Now, what I'm told is that Smolder is actually a soft counter to Yone. And honestly, I could not for the life of me tell you why. But
Range, good escape with his E to get out of Yone's range.
yeah,
Shreds through his shield. Can
that's
poke him
true,
out of his
that's true.
shield.
I don't know. I feel like I've always just had a very, very unpleasant relationship with Yone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Looks like we're not seeing much of anything, though. Alistar potentially walking into what looks like a level 1 cheese here.
Yeah, I think bot lane win or UNC bot lane wins the level 1.
Yep. Oh, absolutely not. I'm sorry. We have an Alistar. Alistar is one of the weakest engaged supports at level 1, is he not?
I know he like really comes online at level 3.
Yes, his level 3 is exceedingly strong, but at level 1, he really doesn't have a lot going on, right? And of course, Rel has spectacular lockdown with her W. It's looking like, yeah, we're just handshaking waves in the bot lane. Smolder, of course, managing to get some stacks off here on this Yone, but he will miss the level 2 first, gets it back pretty fast. And this is a Grasp Smolder. I know that Grasp is all the rage right now, but
Kind of everybody's building it.
yeah. I mean, I've seen Grasp Yasuo. I've seen a Grasp Vigar.
Yeah. That was probably my friend you saw. He's been spamming that before Grasp was even insane. I don't understand, but it is what it is.
Yep. SHU getting some early bot lane prio here, but it looks like UNC is mirroring on the top side. Both junglers moving towards their second quadrant. Volibear pathing towards the bot side, while Sejuani paths towards the top. Of course, both of these teams sort of pathing towards their prio side here.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate.
We might not see a gank, but Kaisa already looking for a reset, potentially. Nope, chooses to stay. Of course, Yone managing to harass the Smolder a little bit, but nothing much going on. Now, I do have to wonder, right, is that this Sejuani into Volibear matchup, right, they both have so much impact, just in general, right, in their lanes. They have really, really strong lockdown. But I don't see Volibear outclassing Sejuani in these team fights. Oh, but a tower dive here, and it looks like Renekton is going to land first blood. Sejuani managing to make a really, really impactful first pick here. Renekton with this early gold is going to become a nightmare for Olaf.
Yone is going to come up with Volibear, though, catch that Sejuani out in the top river, but she's going to back up at the last second.
It looks like we might even be seeing a 3-man collapse here. No, Jungle No Mechanics managing to get out. And it looks like we're just seeing a minor wave crashing here in the bot lane while Yone and Volibear manage to secure this crab. Smolder getting a little bit of free farm, but it seems like Volibear and Yone might be looking to take something from this Smolder. Not quite, just a little bit of poke. That bone plating, of course, coming in handy as the SHU bot lane takes their first reset. Kaisa coming back with a cull and a longsword. It looks like she's trying to make the most of a more farming-oriented lane. Definitely not a terrible option into the Alistar, who has so much strong anti-engage into the Rel.
Volibear also going for a back, followed by Sejuani.
Both junglers looking at their first buy here.
Volibear is starting off with Flicker Blade, it looks like.
Yep. Yeah, two longswords here. Might be seeing a first item Flicker Blade, a very, very strong option for the Volibear, of course. The W's and the Q's doing so much damage, so much healing in these duels and fights.
I'm concerned though because he didn't go with Rod of Ages first.
That is
That's
true.
gonna be
That is true.
really
And of course,
sucky.
delaying that 10-minute Rod of Ages spike is going to be
Bad.
it's going to be quite unfortunate for him.
Because he needs that Rod of Ages to be able to function with Flicker Blade, or else he's gonna burn through his mana.
That is true. That is true. It looks like we're getting a big wave crashing here in the bot lane as the SHU bot lane tries to migrate up here to the dragon. Of course, Volibear on the top side perhaps playing for these grubs. It looks like Rel and Kaisa might be looking to jump on this Smolder. In the meanwhile, Renekton and Olaf just kind of trading it out here in the top lane. Renekton with a lot of prio, and of course the advantage of that early kill comes back to lane with refillables and a pickaxe. A very, very strong first buy for him. And he's managing to take a pretty advantageous trade here. But it looks like we're getting a Volibear gank, and Renekton may just be going down. He has to pop the ult, but it seems like he may not get away with the flash from the Volibear mirroring his flash, and he's gone.
Wood grubs have spawned. Volibear's probably going to take the Krugs and then go for the grubs. Alistar knocks the Kai'Sa away. Rel responds to the W.
We did see Alistar's exhaust out here, but of course the cleanse from the Kai'Sa manages to shed that pretty quickly. And it looks like Seraphine's coming out on top in this trade. The support health quite low on the side of UNC, but Kai'Sa very, very low on health here. A single good lockdown could really take Kai'Sa out of this game, especially given that her cleanse is now gone.
Yeah, Seraphine is a surprisingly good APC.
Seraphine is extremely strong in the ADC role right now just because of the fact that her wave clear is so obscenely fast, right? She can very, very quickly shove out these waves and get prio and force enemy laners under tower for essentially the entire game, right?
Yeah.
And of course her interaction with Rylai's makes her a very, very strong utility APC.
Yep, just immediately rooting someone no matter what because it applies a slow, and that's enough for her to eat a root.
Volibear looking for what looks like a red side invade here, looking for UNC's red buff. Will he find it? It seems like he might. UNC slowly pushing out this bot wave. And of course, Renekton, it seems like now looking for a freeze in the top lane against this Olaf. Volibear manages to secure a red buff for himself. Mid lane largely uneventful here. Yone looking for a little bit of under the tower harass, and of course that E, such a powerful tool for just the most unfortunate trades, frankly.
Sienna is going for the Cloud Drake, it looks like, which is not a bad pick for them.
Yeah,
that team wants move speed.
Absolutely, and with Smolder pinned under tower here, Yone manages to get the early roam. And it looks like we are getting a bit of a invade here. Nope, it looks like Jungle No Mechanics is going to be able to secure their Raptors and potentially try to contest this Cloud Drake.
But they also have no vision on Cloud Drake.
Absolutely. It's going to be very, very tricky for them to really secure anything here, just given that they have no vision. And this is going down quite fast. A lot of damage with 4 members of Sienna Heights here. And it looks like UNC is just going to choose to give this one.
Yep, which is a pretty even trade with UNC also getting the 3 grubs earlier.
Yes.
There's only like 100 gold difference, 1 to 200.
Yeah, we're seeing a pretty even game here right now. The only kills are on UNC's Renekton and Sienna Heights' Volibear. Of course, Olaf managing to get a little bit of assist gold, really evening out the top lane deficit. But it looks like Rel is bringing down the crash down onto the Seraphine, who takes a lot of damage, but Volibear is here to follow up, and he is going to just walk away. It seems like it's going to be a bit of a health trade here. UNC definitely not coming out on top there, given the Rel takes no damage, right, as a bit of a hyper tank.
Yeah, I think they saw the Volibear was there, immediately backed off from that fight. Volibear has his ult ready. If Kai'Sa got low at all, and she's already low on, or not Kai'Sa, if Seraphine got low at all, she's already at half mana, it would have been a pretty rough trade.
UNC's mid laner Wei here really kind of struggling into this Yone, down about 15 CS here, as it looks like we are getting a gank from SHU's Volibear. But it looks like Renekton will just spin away. No, the ult comes out, the tower is disabled, Renekton's ultimate comes out, but it may not be enough, and he's gone. Will it be a 1-for-1? And it is. That is actually quite good for this Renekton. With the wave still about halfway across the lane, Renekton may be able to TP straight back to lane, but it looks like he doesn't have teleport up. It's going to be a little bit tricky for him to catch that wave, but
Yeah,
he
I'm
might
not.
be able to.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I don't even know if that was beneficial for Renekton because the kill gold is or the total gold is still pretty even, and
Yep.
Wei is gonna go
The
down in
Fate
the mid
Sealed
lane.
comes out and Wei is gone. Really, really unfortunate for this UNC mid laner who is already so far behind in CS. Is really struggling here. Bought the early tier, looking for the Manamune later, but I just don't see it being of much value for a little bit, right?
And Sienna Heights is now in the lead by about five to 600 gold.
Solar Descendants here getting tagged by a Void Seeker, now just
500.
being endlessly assailed. Kai'Sa's ultimate comes out, but she gets exhausted regardless. She manages to land the kill here. The Alistar may be looking for some retribution, can't find it. This is, of course, a lethal tempo Kai'Sa, and I have been finding that lethal tempo is becoming quite a strong rune here now that it's come back to the game.
Yeah, not nearly as strong as it used to be,
Oh,
but
it looks like
it was a much needed change.
Sienna Heights coming back for another gank onto this Renekton, who really seems to be buckling under the pressure here. But the flash comes out from the Sejuani. The Olaf is knocked up, and he's immediately taken down by the Permafrost, and the Renekton gets another kill. That's 3 kills for UNC's top laner, who has already completed his Black Cleaver. Rel here, alongside the Yone, trying to take out the Sejuani and the Renekton. Of course, there are two half-health members from UNC here, and they're taking a lot of damage, but the Yone is locked down by the Permafrost. Renekton now stuck in a 2v2 here, but with no health. He heals up a little bit from the Fury Q, and the Q from Smolder manages to land the kill onto SHU's Scorp. A TP coming out here
From
Olaf, and it looks like there might be some follow-up with the Ragnarok coming out. He's stuck to the Smolder. Smolder goes down, but Renekton gets a kill in return. What more can they find here? The Olaf just going ham out of this Alistar, but he doesn't seem to take a lot of damage, and it seems like Name Not Crow just can't do a whole lot here. Trying to wait out the Ragnarok. He does get it now, but the Volibear's back. I don't see him managing to get out of this alive. It's an endless fight here. And the Volibear manages to shut down the Renekton. I mean...
There was, 6 kills in total there?
Yep. An absolute fiasco of a fight.
And Sienna Heights still comes out on top,
yep,
still with a
SHU
500
with a
gold
500
lead.
gold lead. And it looks like Renekton, with about 5 kills here, coming back to lane with a plated steel caps. A very strong early buy into this Olaf, but...
The fight's not over.
The fight is not over here, and it looks like Sejuani is being locked down by this Rel trying to contest these grubs. Wei is here, but I don't see this 3v2 going well.
Yeah, Sienna does not want to let them get another grub that'll get them their
not.
extra Void
Absolutely
Might.
not.
There's going to be another big team fight. We have Renekton TPing in, and they're chasing down that Rel.
Yep. Smolder's mom comes out, gets a little bit of damage onto the Volibear, but it looks like the Rel is going to be taken down here. The Permafrost locks her down, and another kill for Wei.
Yep.
Definitely a very strong gold injection into the Smolder, who was so far behind for a little bit here. Of course, still down about 30 CS, which is absolutely brutal, but that additional kill over the Yone is definitely going to be very, very helpful. We see our Seraphine here, Solar Descendants, now has a completed Archangel Staff. That's nice. On her way to finishing that Seraph's Embrace. Looks like Name Not Crow Renekton is looking for a freeze here, as Alistar just kind of contests some vision. Now, I do have to wonder if Renekton has the sheer power to stat check this Olaf, but it looks like Volibear's here again, and it's going to be another 2v2 in the top lane, with the flash coming out from Renekton. Oh, but we do see a Sejuani ultimate come out, and the Olaf is dead. The kill goes over to the Sejuani, and it looks like we're turning this fight here with the Volibear going down as well, presumably.
Yep.
And it's a double
Death
kill for
smite.
Sejuani.
That's unfortunate. Being killed by a jungle smite, you hate to see it.
Yep. It's an unfortunate way to go down, but I really have seen that UNC's topside is feasting this game with a lot of kills, a lot of really, really volatile fights here in the top lane, with SHU's Volibear really focusing on taking down this Renekton, while the bot side goes largely ignored.
Yeah.
And of course, Seraphine now back to lane with some Lucidity Boots, really going to help her maintain that casting tempo and make those passive stacks count. We see here that our Chemtech Drake is now up. It's always good to see a Chemtech Drake in the first 2 dragons. Not a very exciting soul, of course. And it looks like both Jungle No Mechanics and the SHU jungler are going to be looking to contest this, with both bot lanes rotating up now.
I'll take the current Chemtech Soul over the old one.
Oh,
The old one was
absolutely.
awful. And by awful, I mean insanely good.
And it's looking
And
like,
no one should have it.
it's looking like we're going to see a very, very big 4v4 here, but the Chemtech Drake is already gone. It doesn't look like UNC wants to contest. And this puts SHU at 2 Drakes here, in exchange for 4 Grubs. Not a great trade, in my opinion. And of course, this Yone is so strong, officially at full build, having hit the Berserker Boots and that Vampiric Scepter. Renekton looking for a little bit of damage onto this Olaf. Of course, the 2-level advantage doing a lot for him here. Also up about 30 CS here. A very, very big gold lead for the Renekton. But of course, gold in general, about even. Only 1,000 gold up here for UNC, who of course have been really capitalizing on this top deficit. Frankly, I don't see this going SHU's way, just given that the Seraphine is slowly building up her items, right? And the Smolder is just snacking and stacking. The Smolder with 146 stacks at 15 minutes, looking to hit that 225 threshold. But it looks like we might be seeing a little bit of damage here. The Kaisa managing to bring the Smolder down to about half health with that Plasma proc. Like I said, 151 stacks on the Smolder, probably going to hit 225 around 22 minutes, 23 minutes. And that threshold, that true damage burn is going to be very, very valuable against this Rel, against this Volibear. I don't really see SHU managing to bring it back after that, especially given that this Renekton has kind of proven to be a bit impenetrable here. Alistar and Smolder just looking to defend UNC's mid lane tier 1 here. Yone with the Q3 trying to get some harass off, and the Seraphine does a ton of damage. The Fate Seal comes out, but Seraphine with the Charm, a fantastic counter engage. And a kill goes over to the Seraphine, who is now 1-1-0 with 157 CS.
And they have finished their Scepter.
Yep. Yone with the Blade of the Ruined King, but it really doesn't do much against the Seraphine, who manages to stave off the tower dive just fine.
But it will do a good bit to Renekton.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised to see this Yone become the primary counter to this Renekton, who of course is very, very bulky here. Now with the Doran Shield, the Tunneler, the Plated Steel Caps, and the Black Cleaver. We're getting a TP from Yone looking to shove out this bot side.
I am a bit surprised to see Volibear going with the Sundered Sky first item. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yep. This is, it looks like, a bit of a bruiser Volibear looking to build some MR here. Definitely an interesting choice. Not one I would have gone with myself. But we'll have to see how it pans out. Seraphine trying to contest these Krugs. Well, Name Not Crow, I'm assuming, gets this top tier 1. And immediately jumps onto the SHU top laner. The Fury of the Sands has already been activated, but Ragnarok comes out on the opposite side. It's a battle of the stat checkers, but I don't think that Renekton loses this.
Yeah, Renekton wins that stat check easily. He's got a level up, now 2 levels up. He's got another half item more completed.
Rel with a very, very interesting flash Q into the crash down, but she misses every ounce of that CC.
And it looked like she acknowledged it with that little emote.
Yep. And of course Smolder just continuing to stack now with 150 gold shutdown here, which it looks like SHU might be looking to capitalize on. Scorp here trying to get Solar Descendants, and the pure damage off of these Qs, just an absolutely brutal amount of damage, but the Seraphine manages to get away, presumably with the Flash. Yes, the Flash has been burned on the Seraphine. UNC's APC now, not with a lot of mobility. Yone manages to flash over the Seraphine Q, but gets hit by the Charm again. Will it be enough? No.
No, Alistar and Sejuani are coming around the corner. So is Smolder. He's going to get the Seraphine. He gets away with his E, but now he's in a really bad position.
A double TP out here in the bot lane. It's a 3v3. It's
Sejuani
a 4v4. Sejuani drops her ult.
Entire team fight.
Volibear with the flash here. Smolder's mom comes out. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage though. It looks like SHU is just melting through UNC here.
Olaf gets out just barely at above 200 health.
A really unfortunate fight here with Yone taking that first kill onto Seraphine.
Yeah, the Kai'Sa's been kind of scaling a bit, and we've just not really noticed that. She's got Static Shave, she's got Berserker. She's about to back after this tower and get another item probably. She's 2-0-0, 250 gold bounty. She's doing pretty good, and Sienna Heights is closing that gap, only 200 gold off of UNC. looking for a reset and then maybe to try and get a third Drake there.
Yes, it definitely looks like this is going to be a crucial dragon for the side of both SHU and UNC here.
Especially with being a Hextech Drake,
Yes.
it's going to be phenomenal for everybody on Sienna Heights.
Hextech Dragon is going to be absolutely exceptional on this Volibear, on this Kaisa.
On Olaf.
Yes, on this Olaf, who have so many high value abilities and who love even just a little bit of soft CC trying to lock people down. Alistar managing to push the Kaisa away here, but ends up getting hit by the Void Seeker, 4 stacks of Plasma. But it looks like SHU is kind of just hanging out around this dragon. Both teams posturing for a bit of a fight. I think we know this is going to be a big one.
Yeah, Sienna Heights really does not want to initiate
A double
this
blast
fight.
cone over the wall, and it looks like the Crashdown comes out into the
Big
Magnet
Yone
Storm.
ult.
Gigantic Yone ult, but it looks like SHU is taking a ton of damage here, with Wei just outputting so much damage on the Smolder.
Smolder has now hit his 225 stacks and is now melted.
It's a triple kill for the Smolder. It's a... Name Not Cow manages to get a 4th, but Kaisa gets away. It looks like Sejuani is chasing. The flash comes out, doing...
I don't know if this
not
is
doing
worth.
a whole lot of damage.
I feel like that was a bit of a waste of time.
Probably just wants to circle back to this dragon. Of course, this dragon all but confirmed for UNC here, with SHU only having 1 living member. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to turn this into a Baron as well. But it looks like Jungle No Mechanics just looking for a blue buff for the team here. Smites it, goes for the Crab. Olaf, Kaisa, Rel, Volibear, and Yone, of course, starting to roll out again. Smolder on his 225 stacks, a little bit earlier than I had anticipated, is going to be so high value in these team fights. I mean, especially with such a strong front line, right? That Renekton, that Sejuani, that Alistar. It's going to be almost impossible to jump on him here, but it looks like Olaf might be... It looks like Solar Descendants face checks a bush, and now Olaf is just on her, the axe throw, but it's not enough here. They get the lockdown into the crashdown, and it looks like Seraphine's just gone.
Yep. Poor Seraphine.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Solar Descendants here, who's really been struggling to make an impact in this game. Just getting locked down by this Rel so consistently, taking so much damage from even these weaker members of SHU. Olaf, of course, with 6 deaths here. It looks like Renekton, Name Not Cow, Name Not Cow is going to end up face-checking a bush here. But the Volibear just walks away. Definitely an interesting choice. Kaisa just farming these waves.
I mean, with the lead that Name Not Cow has right now, 737,
yeah.
I'd walk away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. This Rel is very, very eager to just look for some lockdown, and with the amount of exceptional follow-up that she has in the Yone engages, in the Kaisa dives, I really wouldn't be surprised to see her just force some really, really unconventional engages.
I was going to say, this feels like a really big bait, and then I saw the Smolder and Renekton out of the corner.
Yeah.
This could be really bad for Sienna.
Team fight here, as Jungle No Mechanics manages to not really get much of anything.
Not a team fight Sienna wants to take. I don't know what Volibear was doing with that Q. That could have ended really badly there.
Yep.
Olaf backing might be able to finish an item.
It's just a volatile game all around. I mean, no objectives up, but both teams really just posturing for fights over and over again. And frankly, if I were UNC with this incredibly powerful Renekton, right, I would be looking for fights too. Of course, on SHU's side, we have a 2 and 4 Volibear, a 4 and 6 Olaf, a 2 and 3 Yone. The only team member on SHU who is resolutely ahead is this Kaisa, who is 2-0 with about a 20 CS lead. But of course, this Seraphine, who has so much value just off of that very powerful charm. The execute on that Q and the slow and the root off of her empowered E, right? I just see SHU kind of losing every team fight here. It does look like we're getting another tower dive, a 3-man tower dive onto the Seraphine, but she manages to pull away here. The Archangel Shield comes out, but it's just not enough with the Yone Soul Unbound doing so much damage. But Wei manages to take out the Volibear. This execute really providing a lot of value. And Wei now 6-2-2 with a 600 gold bounty, having made up a little bit of that CS lead from earlier in the game, is really starting to take over here. We're seeing a little bit of a screen issue, but we're back now. Now, of course, this Knight's Vow is going to be bringing a lot of value out onto this Rel and Kaisa duo, right? But it looks like they're still getting collapsed on here. The Fury of the Sands immediately brought out, and the Rel is just locked down. Kaisa runs away, but the Rel has gone way with another kill, making him 7-2 and 2. This Smolder is about to become a real threat.
Yes,
Yeah.
Olaf gets tower on top lane, just clearing wave.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can you do at this point? He's a level down. He's an item behind almost.
Yeah, I don't see UNC really managing to throw away this game, especially now that the Renekton has managed to pick up a little bit of a Guardian Angel for himself.
Oy.
That going to provide some real value in these team fights. Having to kill a Renekton twice is not easy.
Oh yeah, that's not a fun time. Looks like they're going for that Baron now that they know that Sienna is not in play right now.
Yep, UNC trying to force a Baron here with SHU having no vision on the Baron pit. Of course, it looks like SHU is aware of what's going on. They are hovering this red side a little bit, but they just don't have the manpower. Scorp on the bot side here, just shoving out bot waves, maybe looking to take an inhibitor tower, but he won't be able to. They're moving too fast. And that's just another jungle objective for UNC, who now have a Baron and 4 Grubs along with the Dragon to their name.
Yep, looks like they're about to go for another Dragon, and then we'll hard shove mid to try to end the game. Or they might just try to shove here.
And this has been a fast game here. The game has really been progressing with a lot of speed, right? 25 minutes, and this Smolder presumably already has about 300 stacks. Really just an impressive performance from UNC overall. I haven't seen anyone on SHU make much of an impact. Those early Volibear ganks did come in handy, but it's just so much lockdown. And the Rel goes down after the Seraphine Charm, Way doing so much damage, managing to execute with those Qs. Just layering an endless amount of true damage burn. Yone does manage to
go down.
It's a 1v1 in the top side, though, with Olaf and Renekton really duking it out, and I don't see Olaf winning that any time of the day. Yone with the Soul and Bound really leveraging his ability to uncommit anytime he wants. The Kaisa comes out here with the cleanse, but she's burned to death.
Barely.
Yep. And of course the siege power of these Baron buff cannon minions.
And here's Renekton pulling up right behind all of them, full health.
Yep. Renekton having won that solo that 1v1 over there in the top lane. Yone uses the Soul and Bound and the Fate Seal trying to get away, but it's just not enough. He burns to death too. Name Not Cow managing to land the kill, and it looks like UNC's just going to end the game here.
I see Yones do that a lot in accident. Try to E away, and they're like, oh wait, I gotta go back.
He was using it to dodge the double Seraphine E. Yeah. Definitely unfortunate that the Fate Seal got blocked there. Not that it would have done much, to be frank. We do see a Volibear Flash Q come out here, trying to lock down this Way, really trying to make sure that the Smolder can't just keep pumping out damage, but he's still alive, he's still throwing out those Qs, and it looks like SHU is melting and the Nexus goes down. That's game 1.
Yep. That was a good showing by UNC for game 1. Taking advantage
a really
of a
impressive
good top
game
lane
from UNC. Yeah, absolutely. Taking advantage of a top lane that was really getting camped by the SHU jungler. I'm frankly really surprised that Renekton managed to pull out a lead like that.
I really think there was that one big fight in top lane where it was just endless trades, and Renekton was just able to capitalize off of that really well.
An absolute fiasco. And of course, Renekton really thriving in those isolated 1v1s and 2v2s where he can select a target and just really go to town on them, right? And of course, the Sejuani bringing so much value with all of that lockdown. Frankly, I didn't see UNC's support doing a whole lot, but their continued presence just peeling that Smolder, right, endlessly, letting them do so much damage.
And I don't know if you caught it, but they a couple of times did really well at stopping an engage by Sienna. I saw him doing a lot to knock away that Rel. You'd see Rose try to like push up a little bit, maybe to get ready for a push, and then knock her away.
Yeah, and of course, Alistar's anti-engage is so strong into probably the best engager in the game, right, with Rel, who with the crash down, with the Q, with the Magnet Storm, is just really able to lock people down unless you have an answer, right?
Yep.
And unless you're playing Alistar or you're playing Renata, you may not have that answer, right? But I think that UNC really did leverage the comp that they had drafted, and they made really solid work of that game.
Right. All right. Now we are waiting for them to prepare to get into the second round of draft. Sorry. All right. Yep.
Yep.
And so we will go to break while we wait for them. We'll be back in maybe 5 or so minutes.
5 minutes. Yep. looks like we're heading into draft here, and we now have a new caster. Do you want to
Yes.
introduce yourself?
My name is Elijah, otherwise known as Vulpus Novum.
Cool. Looks like we are seeing some very, very similar bands here from the sides of both SHU and UNC. The Belveth and Hui bands here from SHU, Skarner and Yasuo from UNC.
The Skarner band from UNC side this time. That's new.
Yep. No, UNC banned it last game too.
Did they? I
Yeah,
thought
they were
I
on the
thought
blue
that was
side.
HSU or
Uh,
SHU.
No, it was in fact UNC. UNC now banning away their own Seraphine. Do not want their ADC playing that. SHU choosing to pick up the Volibear again. Definitely a strange choice, given that it was a relatively low impact pick last game.
Yeah, he did get those good ganks I saw, but not much beyond that.
Yep. The Sejuani, it looks like, might be coming out here for UNC's jungler again. Definitely a very, very strong pick. Did a lot of work last game.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but SHU did ban Syndra, who has been
I did see that.
incredibly dominant on this patch.
Has she?
Yes, a very, very powerful Burst Mage. With Burst Mage items being so strong right now, the Storm
would do
Surge
it.
being absolutely incredible, it's not a surprising ban at all. And it looks like we are seeing a repeat of UNC's comp here with the Alistar support once again.
Definitely did a lot of work last game, so I
Oh,
imagine
but it
that'll
looks
be a
like we
pretty
might
good
be
pick.
seeing a Volibear top from SHU with the J4 hover here, presumably the jungler.
Possibly.
We'll have to see. Now, I do wonder whether we're going to see a repeat of the Yone versus Smolder mid, with the Yone doing pretty solid work, but unfortunately having to really catch up to a very, very big top deficit, which really
Yes.
kept him from playing the game. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a repeat of that, just because Yone is, of course, such a powerful pick on this patch. And it looks like the J4 has been locked in, so this will be a Volibear top and a J4 jungle, unless we see some very, very strange shenanigans involving a J4 top.
I have seen J4 top.
Yep. Our third pick here for SHU, still going unhovered. We'll have to see what happens.
The last
We're
second
getting a
pick with
Kog'Maw.
Kog'Maw.
Definitely an interesting pick, a very, very immobile ADC into a team with a lot of really, really strong lockdown, a lot of really strong engage with the Sejuani and the Alistar.
Yes.
And the Jax going to be
Jax.
absolutely brutal against this Kog'Maw, managing to really just shut him down with the counter-strike and the leap strike. I do wonder what SHU's support is going to be here, right? I would love to see a Renata. I would, to be honest.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. It looks like UNC's trying to pick up their fourth ban here. I wouldn't be surprised if they do try to ban away something like the Yone, right?
Yes.
Maybe,
Yone or Kaisa.
yeah, try to secure a less volatile mid lane or bot lane here. The Kaisa would definitely be a good ban. I know that Kaisa did a lot of work for SHU in the previous game. Though I do wonder what we're going to see with the Lulu ban. Interesting. Definitely a very, very strong pick into the Alistar. Not an unreasonable ban. And of course, Lulu Kog'Maw is a very, very powerful bot lane duo.
Is it?
Yes. With the sheer steroid of that ult really helping Kog'Maw to take over in team fights.
That's true.
SHU here, not really hovering a ban here just yet. Of course, we are ticking down 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
The
1.
Jinx ban.
Jinx ban, not an unreasonable ban.
And the immediate Orianna ban.
Yeah. It looks like we're seeing a lot of really, really strong duos just kind of being phased out here from both sides. Of course, Kog'Maw doesn't really want to play into the Jinx just because of her sheer team fighting power. When it comes down to a front to back, if Kog'Maw and Jinx both land a takedown at the same time, Jinx is eventually going to win out just because of those excited stacks.
Yes.
And it looks like we're getting a Xayah ban
Xayah
here
ban.
from the side of SHU. They really are targeting this ADC. And I do have to wonder what we're going to see come out here from the UNC bot lane. I know that the Alistar, of course, is kind of an evergreen pick with a lot of different ADCs. You can play him as a bit of a counter engage. You can play him into a kill lane, right? So it's really just a question of what we'll see. And of course, the mid laner.
The
Looks
Yone.
like UNC might be handing Yone over to Wei here, our mid laner. Definitely an interesting pick. denying the Yone from SHU's mid laner, of course, and also just a really, really strong setup tool alongside the Sejuani, really
Yes.
letting the Jax just go to town, right? Alistar, of course, with a lot more solo pick potential, can really shut down a single unit much faster. I don't see this game going very well for SHU's ADC.
Ari.
The Ari pick here into the Yone, definitely not a terrible pick. Of course, Yone has some very, very telegraphed movement, and if Ari can land a good charm, Yone being a little bit squishier than your average mid lane bruiser skirmisher type, could definitely be a decent pick. It does also provide SHU with a bit of much needed mobility. The Tom Kench support.
Tom Kench.
That is a great pick, I think.
Is it?
Just being able to grab Kog'Maw and put him wherever you want, right? And make sure that
That's
this
true.
Kog'Maw can't be jumped on. Are we seeing a...
Oh.
Interesting.
Looks like we're going for an APC or a support.
Interesting. Is this a Yone ADC? An Alistar
Hmm.
top?
I'm not
No.
sure. Brand?
Hmm.
Okay. Looks
We're
like
going to assume this is a brand APC. And if anything else happens, we will be pleasantly surprised. Let's put it like that. Of course, Brand is an incredible pick into
Yes.
Volibear and Jarvan and Tom Kench with so much damage.
that
right?
damage will be huge, especially
Absurd
with the
team
amount
fight.
of lockdown that
Yes.
UNC has.
I mean, the Yone ult layered over the Brand ult just going to do so much damage with these conflagrations and just in general the burn stacking, right? So much max health damage. Really going to do a great job of shredding through this Tom Kench, and even just the raw power of having a stun, right? Being able
Yes.
to say like, no, you don't get to move for a little bit. Definitely a very, very coherent team comp from UNC, really playing around those big team fighting skirmishes that happened last game, right?
Yes.
If they can leverage that, leverage the sort of like top lane messes that they had last game, I think that UNC can very easily come out on top here.
Definitely looks like a somewhat similar team comp with the huge amount of CC front line with the damage in the back.
Yeah, I do want to see how this Ari and Volibear pan out though. I think that we can definitely see some team fights really turn around if the Ari manages to land a good charm onto the
Yes.
Yone or the Brand,
A
right?
good
Or
charm
if-
could absolutely throw a wrench in everything.
Absolutely. Or, of course, if this Volibear manages to land a big ult, right, manages to pull out like a really, really strong tower dive, or maybe just snowball his own lane, right? Hit level 6 before the enemy top laner managed to get a tower dive and really snowball that lead. I could see this game going very well for SHU, but I think that towards the late game, it's going to start to become a bit of an uphill battle for them. Right,
Yes.
just given that objectives are really going to come at a premium, and UNC's team fighting is just going to be absolutely exceptional.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Now, I think that now is a good time for us to go to break for a little bit, so we will see you guys in about 2 or 3 minutes. And now here we are heading into game 2. It looks like we are already seeing the teams roll out here, and it is in fact a brand APC. Unfortunate.
Interesting.
I was definitely rooting for the Yone. I wanted to see a Yone ADC, but
That would have been fun.
it
But
looks like our brand APC here is also starting with a World Atlas. I don't think that this was intentional.
yeah.
Definitely a bit strange. Sorry? Yes, but double support item has been nerfed, and now provides significantly less gold income. So we will have to see how this shakes out.
Looks like Sejuani taking some poke from Ari and Volibear.
Yep. Once again, no level 1 invade here. No attempts at maybe sneaking a little bit of an enemy side buff. It's just going to be a pretty even set of matchups here. Of course, we are seeing the Yone on UNC's side here. The Yone into Ari matchup definitely going to be an interesting and pretty volatile lane. We'll have to keep an eye on that one.
Really depends on how well Yone can dodge those charms.
Looks like Jackson Volibear just kind of handshaking this wave. Jax with a little bit of harass. Volibear trying to get a little bit in return. The Counter-Strike, interesting that this Jax starts Counter-Strike. Immediately trying to get a little bit of harass off. Definitely manages to come out with a favorable trade. Yone, of course, taking some poke here in the mid lane. Not unsurprising, right? Ranged into melee matchup. In the bot lane, not a whole lot going on. Brand just trying to poke out his lane opponents. We'll have to see how that goes.
Looks like things are going fairly calmly for the most part, beyond Ari poke.
Yep. It looks like SHE will be hitting level 2 first in the bot lane here. Could be an advantageous position from which to look for a pick, but UNC playing very safe, of course, looking to hit that level 2 themselves. Yone dealing with a bit of a stacked wave here. Can't even really CS due to the fact that this Ahri has so much early game pressure with the orb of deception.
Yes.
Brand, of course, with an incredible amount of wave clear, though. The conflagration, doing so much work here to thin out this wave. And it looks like both junglers...
Jax is going for a trade.
Yep, both junglers here pathing towards the top side. This could become very volatile. It looks like Volibear looking to run away here, but he manages to land the first blood. Doesn't even get a kill in return. Unfortunate. Name Not Cow managing to land another early solo kill. This might be a rerun of the previous game if all things go well for the UNC top laner. It looks like the SHU support is going to be hovering the mid lane here, while Sejuani looks to finish up her quadrant clear. We are approaching about 3 minutes 30, meaning that we could see a bit of a scuttle crab here on the top side, a scuttle crab fight here on the top side, given that both Jarvan IV and Sejuani are finishing up their last camps now.
Looks like Jarvan is headed towards mid, possibly back down to red jungle.
Yep, looking to perhaps just finish up his bottom side Scuttle Crab here. Yep, it looks like he's going to be confirming his bot side Scuttle Crab alongside this Tom Kench.
Giving the top one to Sejuani.
Choosing not to fight for that top side Scuttle. We did see the charm come out here from Ari, who unfortunately misses. Gets the Electrocute proc off onto this Yone, who can't really do a whole lot to answer. Brand now potentially being collapsed on a very, very masterful dodge from the Tom Kench tongue. That tongue, a very, very powerful tool with a really strong slow.
Oh, yes.
Yone unbinding his soul just to look for an ounce of CS here. Already down about 6 CS.
Brand clearing most of the wave there.
Yep, Brand almost instantly clearing the majority of his wave using a simple little QE combo. Yone with the shield, just trying to defend himself from any harass.
Brand gets some poke off on the Cog and Tom Kench.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very difficult bot lane for this Kog'Maw, for this Tom Kench, who are going to be taking so much unneeded harass.
Alistar
And it looks like Brand, with an
down
incredible combo here, manages to deal a whole lot of damage. The Alistar is ignited, but it's just not enough. J4 maybe coming down here looking for some kind of counter engage onto this Alistar, onto this Brand, but I think he knows that the Sejuani is hovering here. And as she kind of starts to wrap around, of course, she's on vision. Kog'Maw and J4 know that she's there. And it looks like she might be just trying to posture for this dragon here. A very, very early first dragon, but of course, bot lane does have the prio for it.
Yes.
Ari TPs. It is a Mountain Drake.
Oh, yes.
Definitely an unfortunate Drake to lose. Sejuani and Alistar making very, very good use of it. The flash from the Volibear, the
Oh,
leap strike,
but it looks like
but
Jax is going down with him.
oh no, that was a flash from the Jax. It was a very odd flash, and unfortunately it takes his life, but he does manage to secure himself a second kill, comes back to lane with a Sheen, a dagger, and a partially completed cull. Jax, of course, a great cull user, loves that early gold.
Sejuani taking the dragon there.
Yep, UNC managing to secure that first dragon of the game, and of course the team is up about 800 gold here, 2 kills.
Yes, definitely
one
big lead.
looks like Name Not Cow is trying to foil a bit of an invade here from J4 onto the Krugs. It doesn't look like Jarvan the Fourth is going to be getting out here, but he does manage to flag and drag himself away. And it looks like J4 is going to be in a very difficult position trying to vie for these grubs now that he's so low on health. And of course, the Sejuani pathing towards the top side here. Name Not Cow developing a bit of prio. May just be able to force these grubs. Ari extending a little bit too far. Now the Sejuani is here. Level
Sejuani
5
going
does not
after.
have the lockdown, perhaps. The Soul Unbound, but the Charm forces the Yone to back off a little bit. This Jax really just leveraging these counter-strikes, causing so much unnecessary harass to just be piled on top of this Volibear.
Little scuffle between J4 and Sejuani there.
Volibear with the shield manages to take a bit of an advantageous trade. Ha, my tongue. But it looks like Jax is just going to be rotating down for these grubs, and both early game objectives going over to UNC here. Definitely a sizable lead developing for them. We are now up to a 1k gold lead for UNC over SHU, and it seems like every lane is just slowly but surely winning.
Oh, Jax with
The counter-strike with the stun does not choose to commit, with the leap strike, of course, used it earlier. And it seems like Volibear is just going to be stuck under tower. This might be a prime position for a counter dive, for a tower dive, given that this Volibear is so low. And it seems, in fact, like Sejuani is looking to ping here. Of course, she does get spotted on the control ward. Not much that this J4 can do, unfortunately, only being level 5. Sejuani at level 6. This might be a bit of a tower dive angle for UNC, despite the presence of the jungler. But it looks like Ari coming up from the mid lane. While Yone had taken a reset and manages to foil that tower dive. Brand just crashing wave after wave into this bot lane tower. Really a struggle for this Kog'Maw to farm at all. Now down about 12 CS. And of course, this Brand comes back with these Sorcerer's Boots and immediately starts to do so much damage. The poke just piles up like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, just his damage alone, and then the AoE he can hit. He can clear the minion waves and hit them.
Yep, another Conflagration just tapping a little bit of damage, and of course, the passive proc does cause Tahm Kench to take a little bit more damage. Just a lot of max health damage going over. The pink ward here, and it looks like Tahm Kench is choosing to commit. The Alistar bumping the TK away, now isolated from the team.
Sejuani coming in.
Yeah, the J4 ult comes in, isolates, but unfortunately, the Brand ultimate doing so much damage, the Pyroclasm. And suddenly the TK is down, the J4 is down, Ari coming in, trying to counter this. She manages to get the charm off, but Sejuani just doesn't take a whole lot of damage, and now Yone is here. It's a 2v4 in the bot lane, and it looks like not much is going to be coming out of this. Yone, Alistar, and Brand perhaps trying to collapse. The Fate Shield comes out, but it misses Kog'Maw with a deft sidestep. The Spirit is unbound in the true damage. But
oh, the Brand.
The Comet from the Brand manages to take out the Kog'Maw, and this bot lane is so far ahead now with 3 kills. That next buy is going to be absolutely brutal for this Kog'Maw, who is already decently far behind on CS alone.
Yeah, that's 14 CS right there.
Yep. And now Volibear and Jax just quietly trading. Of course, this Volibear is fully aware that this Jax is going to win every fight.
Oh, Yone, or was that Yone? No,
Sejuani.
that was Sejuani.
Sejuani taking a lot of damage from this Ari in the mid lane, who is up about 5 CS here. Of course, does not have the assist gold from that singular Brand pick that the Yone managed to secure in the bot lane. It is really fascinating to see this Jax and this Volibear just slowly duke it out. Like, not a whole lot of action, just endless trades. And of course, it does look like this Volibear is looking for the Winter's Approach first item. Definitely an interesting choice. Not a terrible item on Volibear. Tom Kench looking for the
Oh.
engage onto the Brand. He manages to find the knockup. It's a 3v1 here.
See
He gets
J4 behind
devoured,
there.
and it looks
Oh.
like J4 is going to flag and drag him up, and the Kog'Maw manages to land a gigantic shutdown. A gigantic amount of gold going over to this Kog'Maw. Wei now with the Soul and Bound, trying to just get a little bit of harass off onto this Ahri.
Takes a tower shot for it.
Yep. TK going in for another knockup. Doesn't find it, though. Sejuani just kind of struggling here. Not taking a whole lot of damage, but not being able to dish much out in return. The Volibear with a sizable health advantage over this Jax,
Looks
but
like
taking
Jax
a
is still
bunch of
going
damage
for it.
here. And the Grandmaster's Might comes out. He's doing a whole lot of damage. This is going to be a very, very close duel. The Volibear ult comes out, and it
Flash
looks like it's
out.
just a trade of ults. Unfortunately, the Jax does have to flash. But it looks like the Volibear did Ghost as well, so it's a 1-for-1 trade on both Ultimates and Summoners here. A pretty even top lane, which of course leaves Jax with the advantage. And it looks like J4 is going to be counter jungled here, as Sejuani manages to land the permafrost. Is this a solo kill with the
Nice.
Zeke's damage? J4 just looking to get anything, uses the smite to get a little bit of healing from the Krugs, but he's gone.
Does not work.
Yeah. And it looks like Sejuani here just looking to pop over that wall and perhaps head over to these next Void Grubs. A very unfortunate death for this J4, who is going to be giving up 6 Grubs to UNC, which is going to give them so much pushing power with the side lane menace that is this Jax. And now Brand with the stun onto this Tom Kench, who
Looks like
really
TK
can't
is
seem to
going
get away.
down.
Yone with the Soul and Bound manages to force him away, and now he's dead. Alistar does manage to get that kill. An unfortunate bit of gold allocation there, but still, gold is gold. The Hex Flash from the Alistar. Oh, a
Oh.
deft flash from Kog'Maw with an unnecessary cleanse, which does leave him a little bit stuck.
Looks like
But it looks like he's winning this fight.
Brand. Oh.
Chooses not to engage. Wei taking a charm to the face with a Soul Unbound here. Jax not doing a whole lot, and it looks like it's just going to be a very, very close fight here in the bot lane. Kog'Maw with
Oh.
that powerful artillery managing to kind of just keep them away, stop these backs. Wow, it is an unfortunate situation for this Alistar, who has to walk all the way behind the tier 1 bot tower just to find a reset. And it looks like SHU is going to be posturing for this dragon here, knowing that Kog'Maw has forced a delayed reset on this Brand, on this Alistar. Now, of course, UNC does have top lane prio, but there's not a whole lot they can do with it, given that there is no jungle objective up yet. And of course, Jax with no TP doesn't have a quick way of getting to this dragon fight. UNC looking to start the dragon anyway, doesn't have vision behind the pit, but it looks like J4 is just resetting.
backing.
Yeah, it looks like SHU is making the decision to forfeit this dragon. Definitely a wise choice here, knowing that they would immediately lose that team fight, especially with the Kog'Maw still kind of out of commission here. Of course, he does come back with a Vamp Scepter. Not quite finished with the Blade of the Ruined King, but Brand now has completed the Leandries and has landed himself a Dark Seal. He's going to be doing tons and tons of damage here. Yone just trying to grab a pink ward for himself. And it looks like it's going to be a
looks like it's going
3v1
to be
collapse
3v1.
here in the top lane. Name Not Cow putting up a valiant performance here. The Volibear has to ult out, and it looks like he's just going to get away. No tower dive. Unfortunately, the Volibear ult going out means that there is no way of disabling that tower, and it looks like the Pyroclasm
bot
here
lane is going on
devouring
engage.
this Tom Kench. Of course, the Pyroclasm projectile persists even when an ally has been devoured. And now the Kog'Maw stun
Kog'Maw
pushed
is going
away,
down.
and it looks like Alistar might just get this kill, but no, the burn manages to secure it for the Brand.
Looks like TK might
and
be
it
able
looks
to get
like
Brand.
No, I think that Brand is going to
Unless-
walk away with this one too, unless Tom Kench can get away with another lick. No.
Oh.
The damage from this Brand just absolutely exceptional, of course. So far ahead in gold now with 5 kills with a Leandry, Sork Boots, and a Dark Seal. Doing so much damage. The Sejuani getting charmed, but the Yone is here to follow up. And it looks like the Yone using the Fate Seal to continue the
ult on
lockdown on this Ahri. Ahri has to use her Spirit Rush to get away. And it looks like it's going to be a 0-for-0 trade here in the mid lane. A very, very volatile game, but it seems like UNC has just been coming out on top every single time. The only deaths here have been on Jax and Brand, who are already just incredibly ahead here, right? And it looks like Volibear has gone for... Wow, that is a very interesting item. Is that a... Unending Despair, is it not? That is an interesting first item, choosing to kind of focus on just wave clearing, right? Definitely a strong item into, a Jax who does a lot of physical damage, very strong attack damage carry, into the Yone who does a lot of physical damage, but it's not going to give you a lot of mileage against this brand, right? Who is doing so much magic damage, so much max health magic damage now with this Leandries. I don't think it was a very smart buy, frankly. I personally would have gone with almost something like a Spirit Visage first.
Spirit Visage would have definitely helped.
Yep, and it looks like Name Not Cow is now just chasing down the enemy mid laner all the way down to the top tier 2. Tom Kench perhaps getting caught out here, manages to land himself a Grasp Stack, but he's getting 3v1 here. The
3v2,
Volibear is
Cogma's
here.
right
It's a
there.
3v3, a 4v3 here as
4v3.
the team fight might turn around here for UNC. And it looks like I Will Throw goes
Yone
down
coming
here.
in.
Yone arrives, he uses his Soul Unbound, and it looks like Sejuani is just going to get away here. The lockdown from this brand so strong.
Jax chasing down.
Chasing down this J4
Kog'Maw.
and this Kog'Maw, absolutely. I do have to wonder, the
Oh,
flash coming out
flash.
onto the Leap Strike. The flash has to come out from the J4 into the Flag and Drag. He
J4
manages
gets
to get
away.
away. A very, very strong
Kog'Maw might
cleanse,
go down
but
here.
yeah, Kog'Maw unfortunately does go down here. Even having invested the cleanse, very, very unfortunate. Not a single summoner spell on this Kog'Maw now. Jax taking a couple of tower shots for what seems like just
Oh.
fun. Wow, an
Ahri going in
incredible
on
flash
Brand.
here, managing to predict the flash from the brand, but not able to really capitalize. This Ahri, I have found, has been a very, very fascinating force in this game. But
She's
the
hitting
Fate Seal
decent number
locked
of
down,
charms.
and she has been taken out. Just incredible amounts of lockdown, and that is Yone's first kill. On top of his 3 assists, it means that he's sitting on a sizable gold lead, with CS being completely even here. Brand looking to secure a tower dive, and perhaps even the bot tier 1 here, as Jax goes down, and now it looks like
Volibear
Volibear is
might
just
be
going to be
going
run
down.
down the entire way. Yeah, the counter-strike gets the stun off, but the W heal is incredible. He's not taking a whole lot of damage here.
Alistar
His
coming in.
ult comes down. It looks like
Brand
the
going
Volibear
down.
manages to come away with a shutdown onto this brand. He is suddenly extremely strong with his ult steroid. Jax has to run away. He has no mana. Alistar bumping him away, but the J4 Flag and Drag
J4.
might be able to force him back into the fight.
Kog'Maw is up there too.
Definitely a bit of a collapse here. We're
And
seeing a
the
TP
whole
from the
team.
Ahri. It's a 5v1 for this Alistar. SHU just looking for any kind of gold they can get. Alistar putting up a valiant fight, but it's gone. But of course, this is a
Unfortunate.
trade for the Rift Herald on the top side, and with Yone and Sejuani up there, they are pushing a lot of minion pressure into this top tier 2. I don't see this 5v1 collapse being a very good macro trade, right? With the Rift Herald going down here, it looks like the top tier 2 might just be gone.
Yeah.
And it is. Volibear managing
Rift
to
Herald going
take down
down.
the Rift Herald. And it looks like we are seeing just another bit of cross-map trading here. It looks like UNC is going to choose to give up this dragon. Of course, they are ahead by 2-0, meaning that this is a very, very comfortable dragon trade for them, and especially in exchange for all of that top lane pressure. It is going to be very, very difficult for SHU to force this dragon, and it looks like they're actually coming off of it, given that they have no top lane pressure, and UNC manages to secure
like
this one as well.
Yeah, J4 and Kog'Maw backed off of it.
Yeah. It looks like with all of that top pressure that they managed to tease out during that strange chase for the Alistar, UNC manages to translate that cross-map pressure into another dragon. Very, very strong macro play from them. Very, very intelligent gameplay from UNC right now. Just an incredible showing overall.
Looks like Yone's making his way up to the top lane.
Yeah, I do have to wonder how SHU is looking to maybe come back into this game, because right now they have no objectives, right? Not a single jungle objective, not a single tower, but they have gigantic objective bounties coming up here. J4 looking for the Flag and Drag onto the Alistar, but the brand is right there, and he's going to immediately take a bunch of damage. The Cataclysm maybe locking down this Alistar, but he's just too beefy of a target, right? J4 doesn't do a whole lot of damage right now, given that he's only at 1 item with the Sundered Sky. He is so far behind here. Only 98 CS in 19 minutes. Just an absolute
Ouch.
struggle for this jungler.
Well, yeah, he keeps trying to go in for those counter jungles and keeps getting pushed off by a Jax.
Yep. And of course, Sejuani continuing to sit on a decent CS lead here. Of course, Sejuani, a much lower econ jungler than this J4, who has to build some more bruiser items. J4 just slowly farming up these wolves. Kog'Maw slowly making his way towards his second item here, which presumably is a Gwynsu's Rageblade. But
I think that seems about right. Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, this brand is already on his. He's already working towards his third item, which we can safely assume is probably a Morellonomicon.
Yes.
Now that he has the Rylai's and the Leandry, is just going to be an absolute nightmare to fight in these team fights with so much slowing, so much max health damage.
That'll definitely help against Volibear as well. Mitigate whatever healing he has.
And honestly, this just feels like it's going to be an impossible fight for SHU. But of course, they are now doing a
Looks
three.
like
There's a
Jax is
three-man
getting
collapse
collapsed
on this Jax. Yes. And it looks like there's a lot of lockdown here. The Heartsteel, the Heartsteel and Tom Kench tacking on a little bit of damage, manages to dodge the Abyssal Dive from the Tom Kench here, but the Flag and Drag knocking him up. But there's a 3v1 on the top side too. Both top laners just being wildly assailed right now, and the Ahri manages to take down the Jax while the Sejuani takes down the Volibear. And now it looks like UNC's pushing straight towards a Baron, while SHU tries to make use of the fact that they managed to land this pick, maybe looking for some objective bounties, looking for this mid-tier 1 and this bot-tier 1. But is it a worthy trade for this Baron? I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because that Baron could be huge for us, or for UNC.
Yep. And it looks like UNC is going to secure this Baron and immediately turn onto this mid-tier 1. And unfortunately, it looks like SHU only manages to get a bot lane tower in exchange for this Baron. Really just not a favorable trade for them at all, especially with UNC being on Soul Point. The pressure to land this next jungle objective and finally secure a dragon for themselves is going to be huge. And this Cloud Drake, of course, such a high-value dragon for a lot of these champions. Yone going to be managing to really pull out all of the stops in every single team fight with all of that move speed. Jax, once he pulls out the Grandmaster's Might, being able to move around so quickly, jump on different people, really chase people down in these team fights. And in the post-team fight chases, it's going to be really, really difficult for SHU to salvage the game if they manage to give up this Cloud Soul.
Looks like not much going on right now. Lots of jungle clears.
I am interested to see the next big team fight and really just watch to see how much this brand can do. Sejuani completely dominant in this jungle matchup, just kind of forcing J4 out of his own jungle, knowing that she has the support of the Yone in the bot lane, and the brand Alistar sitting in the mid lane. It's just an endless amount of lane pressure here. TK perhaps looking to get some harass off, but it's just not enough. And Wei managed to secure himself 700 gold from a gigantic bot lane tier 2 take. Brand just resolutely hanging out under this tower, doing so much damage. Sejuani managing to lock people down. The Pyroclasm comes out.
Yone targeting Kog'Maw.
The Kog'Maw down with the Fate Sealed. And unfortunately, it's a double kill for Brand. The charm onto Name Not Cow, but it's just not enough damage. This Ahri, unfortunately, managing to land some really, really significant charms in this game, but there just hasn't been enough follow-up. And of course, the Ahri now sitting on like 1.5 items, right? Looking for what I would assume is the Shadow Flame second item. Not a terrible pick into this team, but just looking to really take out that brand, right? Unfortunately, it looks like UNC is just looking to siege and end the game here. So many minions with this Baron buff. Yeah, just an incredible showing from UNC overall this game. Forgive us, we have had a screen issue, but we are back now. And it looks like it's going to be a triple inhibitor. Yep. Nicely dodged the charm, this Yone. It looks like Brand is just going to be dumping so much damage into the enemy team here. The Leandry's doing so much work.
Down.
Yeah, the Cataclysm tries to lock people down, but there's just 2 flashes. Nobody's been taken down. UNC doing an absolutely incredible amount of damage. It looks like Volibear is just going to be going down here. The flash from the Alistar into the knock-up. The Alistar does go down, but the Jax manages the counter-strike. The Volibear ulting into his own towers. Way doing damage, but it looks like Brand is isolated here. Doing a whole lot of damage. Another Pyroclasm comes out, and it's a it's a
1v1.
It's a 1v1 at the enemy nexus for UNC. Brand perhaps looking to just execute. The Brand ultimate comes out. And it looks like J4 may just go down here, doing so much damage, so slow due to this Rylai's, and now it's it's a chase.
The burn, and he goes down.
Absolutely an awful struggle for this SHU jungler, who has really been trying to put in the work, but is just taking so much damage. Now looking for what is presumably a Spirit Visage, but it's just not going to be enough. right? He's taking so much damage, this gigantic stacked super minion wave, and unfortunately, SHU just doesn't have a whole lot of wave clear. Brand, of course, his ability to shove out these waves so quickly is absolutely exceptional, and it looks like we're just seeing a super minion wave crash into this enemy nexus, doing a little bit of damage here. Tom Kench about to get executed by a wave of super minions, taking an incredible amount of damage.
Oh boy.
And it
Looks
looks
like
like
we're
this
taking
final
dragon.
dragon and the Cloud Dragon Soul is going to go over to UNC, who have played this game impeccably.
Yeah, that what is it? Ability haste?
Cloud Dragon is a 20% out of combat move speed buff and a 50% move speed buff, period, after casting your ultimate. Very, very strong on this Yone, on this Jax, who are now looking for a final push onto the enemy Nexus. Wei manages to take down one, and it looks like it's just a slaughter here.
That Ari charm
yeah.
out of the way really helps.
Now the Brand just looking to dose out as much damage as possible, and it looks like everyone's down. The Kog'Maw, the last remaining member of his team, Volibear, finally going down here, and it looks like it's just over, unfortunately.
Looks like Kog'Maw disconnected.
Yeah, Kog'Maw leaving the game here, accepting the defeat, and it is a resolute win for UNC, taking this series.
Well played.
An incredible game. Yep, just a great showing from UNC overall. Really just consistently dominant in that game. I don't think I saw a single team fight that SHU won. And it really was just a question of this absolutely dominant bot laner doing so much damage on this Brand, right? The backline power was just really there in a way that it wasn't for SHU, with Kog'Maw really not being a very big presence for SHU as a whole. Right, and of course the jungle gap, incredible, with J4 really being forced off of his farm, not really being able to impact the game in a lot of ways. He really wasn't able to land a lot of ults onto those key targets, right? I didn't see a single Cataclysm onto Brand. And what that means is that you're kind of just stuck isolating, a very tanky member of the enemy team, while this Brand just deals out so much damage. It really just wasn't a very coherent game plan for SHU.
I think it was just the same thing that happened in the last game, was the CC and the tankiness keeping everyone off the Brand or the Smolder.
And I think that this has been a really, really strong choice of comp for UNC, who are very, very good at playing these front-to-backs, right? Especially with this Yone, who is able to do all of this diving and take down priority targets with these fantastic flanks. I saw so many Fate Sealed, which landed straight onto this Kog'Maw, really keeping him out of the game. And with that single backline threat gone, I mean, what more is there to do, right? Just let the Brand do his thing.
Definitely some huge plays all around.
Yeah. A very, very strong showing from UNC.
So Ari hit a lot of those charms, but they just couldn't quite.
I mean, honestly, I think that SHU's mid laner really did put in a lot of work there, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. No follow-up, right? I mean, like, when you're playing an Ari who is this really, really mobile assassin into these teams which are so tanky, minus this Brand, minus this Yone, you really just, like, if you don't have people who are taking advantage of these charms, people who are more tank shreddy, you're just not getting anywhere, right? And of course, the Spirit Rushes just don't have a lot of value into a team that can lock you down so quickly, especially with a Sejuani who has that point-and-click permafrost, which really helps you just force her down, right? You can't Spirit Rush if you're stunned. And I think it was just a really difficult game for SHU. They played it to the best of their ability, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough.
A lot of good plays.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. I have been Arnav, also known as Dragonary, and this has been my fellow commentator.
I've been Elijah, also known as Vulpus Novum.
And we are going to be signing off for now. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.